let's do a little unboxing. Comes with some stickers. Great. Awesome. Who loves stickers? Okay, and so the first part we have is from Woodcraft, and rather than going with spools on the bike, I have instead decided to turn my stand into having spools. The rationale for that is that I had seen one or two pictures on the internet of the location on the swing arm where the spools go into. There's a weld there, and I've seen at least two pictures of that weld having a crack in it. Now, of course, you don't know what the conditions are or who did what to their bike when trying to put it on their rear stand. But what I wanted to do was to put these Womet GP rear Paddock style stand holders, and the reason for that is because it utilizes both holes, so it distributes the weight better on the swing arm. I also think it'll be easier to get on and off the stand like this than with the spools and having the stand have the hooks. It should also allow me to continue to use the same stand that I have. And then lastly, some frame sliders, Womet Tex frame sliders. And so let's take a look at those. I know that there's a little bit of plus and minus with frame sliders. Their real purpose is to prevent cracking of the fairing, but it does introduce a load to the frame. So if you land hard enough, you may save your fairings, but you're likely going to do some damage bending of the frame. So let's take a look at what we have here. So there's your slider. Appears to be very good quality. We have a spacer here. And it comes with black caps. There's an option for $10 to get a colored cap if you really want that. And of course, it comes with both sides. And for those of you who like your stickers, more stickers. Alright, as well as some instructions. So that should be a fairly straightforward install. This should be a fairly straightforward install. My current stand is not a Woodcraft stand. So I suspect that I will likely need to bore out the current peg hole in my stand in order to add these to my stand. So let's get going on that. Okay, so looking at the right side of the rear swing arm, you have two tabs here. These tabs are threaded for a 4mm Allen key, and so we'll take the TST Industries Womet GP style rear lifts, and we'll line them up. Make sure that has good fitment. There it is. And you're going to want to use some blue thread lock on here to make sure it doesn't vibrate free. So I'll put a little bit of that on. This is a so you're going to want to take your 4mm Allen keyed hardware here and put just a dab of some thread lock on there. I put probably a little too much on this one. That's plenty. We'll go one at a time and just get this started. Make sure you don't cross thread anything. I don't have torque specs on here. Don't kill it, but you don't want it to come loose either. That's good. Okay, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so let's move on to the frame sliders. We're going to need a 17mm deep socket. It's supposed to be at 55 Newton meters, or which is 40 foot-pounds. So let's see, I've got a nice deep socket set up so that way I don't scratch the fairing. It might make it a little interesting depending on how much torque they've put on it. It's a little bit extended. Let's see. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So again, that's a 17mm. Okay, so we have our long bolt here. We're going to put a dab of thread lock on there. Next thing that's going to go on is this guy here, and it's going to go on in this orientation. We'll slide that through, right? But actually we're going to build this in reverse order, right? So this has to go on first. Then this guy with the words out. Then our spacer, just like that. And carefully seat that in. And we want to make sure that there's no stripping or anything happening. Now that is not a 17mm, so we have to grab a different size. Okay, so that is a 19mm, and we'll get that on there and get it started. And then we'll switch over to our torque wrench. Again, the torque specs are 55 Newton meters, which is 40 foot-pounds. Grab the torque wrench. Okay, make sure that you have enough room so that you don't scratch your fairings. Okay. Now we open up the cap. And I'll line that up and press it in. Okay, on to the other side.